Welcome to Kolkata, India, everybody. If you want to see some top quality Indian street food, you've come to the right place. I was cruising and perusing around downtown Kolkata in West Bengal trying to find the top 10 street foods in this mother. And first up, we got an Indian street snack called Jhal Muri, and as you can see, the maestro's tossing all kinds of fixins into a pot. What kind of fixins, you ask? Pretty much anything you can think of. They got boiled potatoes, cilantro, ginger, chili peppers, savory snacks. They even got coconut chips, nuts, spices, and lime, and a whole lot of other fixins. It's getting pretty serious around here. So after jamming a whole lot of fixins into that pot, the maestro started feverishly stirring it up. And wow, just wow, now the maestro's taking that mixed up Jhal Muri and pouring it into a pre-prepared newspaper package. Seems to me like this snack maestro's got the skills to pay the bills, baby. I mean, do you see the snack right now? It's looking like it's got some serious potential. So I poured some of that snack onto my hand as a temporary loading dock, and then I dished it down the hatch. And as soon as I chomped down on that crazy-ass snack concoction, I was feeling stunned and stupefied. With that wide array of tastes and textures, this snack was making me feel closer to God, the Hindu gods to be exact. We got some onion and citrusy zest along with some herbal spiciness, and even a little salty sweetness, and overall I most definitely must give this snack a 5 out of 5 Bay of Bengals. After all, not only was the snack delish and swadished, but I could have sworn that somehow, someway, it actually made me better as a person. So next up we got something called the Kolkata Roll, which is basically like a wrap. They got plenty of different filling options, but I went for the eggy wig and the chicken. Can you actually blame me? Now, what makes this roll special is it uses an Indian Paratha bread. If you ever had Indian naan, it's kinda like that, but instead of being made by white flour, it's made with whole wheat flour. And instead of being baked, it's actually fried. Anyway, as you can see, those wrap maestros are tossing all kinds of fixins into that wrap, including a sweet sauce, a spicy sauce, some lime, and even some onions. And whoa, look at that maestro wrap up that Kolkata wrap. Damn, that's looking pretty swadished if you ask me. So after I savagely grabbed that wrap from the wrap maestro, I started inspecting it, and wow, just look at that wrap. It was looking mighty fine, so I took myself a bite, and oh my Rabindranath Tagore. Man, oh man, is that Paratha perfect for this wrap. It's crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside, and greasy beyond belief. Add to that those zesty fresh fixins and prime time protein action, and I think it's safe to say the spicy grease explosion of a wrap is most definitely a 5 out of 5 Bay of Bengals. After all, not only did it change my life, but it also touched my heart. So what other kind of buck wild street foods do we got around here? Take a look at this. At first I thought it was a dosa, but apparently I was wrong. Apparently I was dead wrong. Word on the street is it's something similar to a dosa called a Pesarattu. I think they use some crushed up mung beans to make this thing, but I don't know exactly. The point is that street food maestro topped off that mofo with some onions, spices, and cilantro action. Then he folded it up and gave it to another maestro who added some sauce action to the mix. Seems to me like that's a nice multi-maestro operation they got going on. I mean, they got not one but 2 sauces over there, and I'm getting a tad confused about which sauce I should try out first. I'm also pretty intrigued by this leaf-based disposable plate they got over here. I'm not sure what that's all about. Must be some kind of Hindustani thing. Anyway, I tried tearing a piece of that bad boy off, but it was damn hot, so I had to wait a sec. Then once I finally was able to rip off a piece, I dipped it into not one but two different sauces, then I shoved it down the hatch. And oh my stray dogs. Before I started eating that Pesarattu, I was feeling pretty off-nar, but afterwards, I was actually feeling off-par, aka aroused for perfectly acceptable reasons. It was tasting soft as hell and zesty to the max. It was basically like a dosa, but softer and more zesty, if that makes any sense. Only problem was, the temperature was nuclear hot for the longest time, so it took me quite a while to make my way through it. Next on deck, we got a Kolkata classic called the Puchka, aka the Pani Puri. It takes the maestro a nanosecond to make it, and before I knew it, he was already done. Basically, this thing consists of a puri, which is a deep-fried, hollow Indian bread. Then on the inside, they got some mashed potato action, complete with spices jammed into the mix. And then after he puts some of that potato mix into the hollow bread, he dips the whole thing in some tamarind pulp water. I'm not sure who the hell dreamt up that concoction, but I figured I'd give it a whirl. So I inserted that mofo between my choppers, then savagely bit down on it. I had a little tamarind pulp water left over, so I slammed that down as well. And man, oh man, that was one weird, wild snack right there. We got some crunchy, hollow bread textures, some soft mashed potato textures, and some crazy-ass tamarind pulp just blasting off all up in my mouth. That tamarind pulp water was kinda tangy and kinda refreshing, but overall, I think this snack must be an acquired taste. It's not exactly my favorite Indian snack, but it's pretty buck wild nonetheless. So what other kind of street food do they got in this place? Call me crazy, but I think they got some kind of assembly line operation in the works. They're cooking up some Lacha Paratha with a little Chana action, and I'm getting pretty excited to try it out. After all, I've been working my ass off 24/7, and I've been sweating my balls off over here. The least I could do is treat myself. So I got me some of that Lacha Paratha and some Chana, aka chickpeas, and I was getting pretty excited to try it out. Step 1, pick up the spoon, put that Chana on top of the Paratha. Step 2, wrap up that bitch to your badass heart's content. Step 3, savagely shove it into your mouth. There ain't nothing to it but to do it, sweetie buns. And overall, that Chana had a subtle stew-like flavor, and that Paratha was tasting mild yet buck wild. Now aside from that Paratha and Chana, the maestro asked if I wanted a spicy eggy wig as well, and I said yes. But then that maestro gave me 2 eggy wigs and some stewed carrots, so I think he was trying to upsell me or something. But it was worth it in the end, because those carrots were soft as hell and those eggy wigs were swadished as fuck. And next up is another Kolkata classic, a little thing called egg chow mein. Now I don't exactly know how and I don't exactly know why, but for some reason Chinese Indian fusion food is pretty popular in Kolkata. So you see these chow mein joints all over the place, and I figured I'd give it a go. And as you can see, that chow mein maestro is tossing and turning those noodles all over the place. We got noodles flying left and right over here, but eventually he did put that all on a plate. And before he gave it to me, he put some ketchup on there. Whoever heard of ketchup with chow mein? I feel like that violates some core principles of Chinese cooking, but hey, what do I know? At any rate, I started feverishly turning my fork in that chow mein, trying to get myself a big-ass bite. And as soon as I feasted on that chow mein, I was kinda surprised. It did taste pretty good, albeit a tad mild in the flavor department. I was thinking that maestro should have put in some more soy sauce, but hey, I can't complain. Next up, I tried a bite with that ketchup, and it was tasting good, albeit a bit of a strange flavor combo if you ask me. Nevertheless, decent street food right there. Now, aside from Chinese chow mein, Tibetan momos are also popular in Kolkata. What's a momo, you ask? It's basically a dumpling with meats or vegetables on the inside. Now, you can get momos steamed or you can get them fried, and of course I got the fried ones. What can I say? I not only want extra calories in my diet, but I actually need them. So I got me those nice deep-fried momos complete with spicy Sichuan sauce. Then I frantically punctured that momo with my plastic fork and got ready to take myself a chomp. And wow, just wow, that Sichuan sauce was tasting sweet as hell and spicy to the max. That chicken itself didn't really have much flavor, but that sauce more than made up for it, baby. Granted, that momo dough was tasting kinda soft, whereas I was expecting it to be crispy. So these were by no means the momos to end all momos, but they definitely improved my life and reinvigorated my spirit. Now, the city of Kolkata was hotter than a Bangkok brothel, so I figured I should get myself a cold and sweet motherfucking treat. And what better treat to get than a Kesar Pista Kulfi, also known as a saffron pistachio kulfi. Now, a kulfi is basically like an Indian ice cream that's infused with some spices, and this particular kulfi was topped off with some semolina noodles and some rose syrup. I never had it like that, but I was willing to give it a try. So I loaded a fat chunk of that kulfi onto the wooden spoon, took myself a bite, and oh my Mahatma. That kulfi was tasting incredible, baby. Just take the thickest, creamiest ice cream you could ever imagine, infuse it with saffron and cardamom powder, jam some pistachios inside, some semolina noodles on top, and that sweet, sweet rose syrup, and you most definitely have the recipe for a 5 out of 5 Bay of Bengal's dessert. I mean, this Kesar Pista Kulfi was tasting so damn good that for a Kolkata kilosecond, I felt like I had transcended space and time. Key takeaway, nice fucking Kulfi right there. Now up to this point, all the street foods I've eaten have been on Park Street and Newmarket. But there was still one more famous place for me to chow down at, a little thing called Tehri Bazaar. It's the only Chinatown in all of India, and it's a pretty popular place to get some street food on Sunday mornings. So I got myself some Siu Mai, aka Chinese dumplings, and I think it's safe to say it's getting pretty Chinesey around here. Now I got a little spicy sauce on the side dish, and I added some soy sauce to that side dish. Then I furiously jammed that Siu Mai into the side dish and took myself a bite. Now this right here was supposed to be some fish Siu Mai, and as soon as I bit into it, I was kinda surprised. It didn't taste like fish so much as it tasted like spongy fish balls from hell. The outside of that Siu Mai was tasting good, and that sauce was tasting real good. But I, for one, was not the world's biggest fan of that spongy fish ball action. And last but not least, we got some Chinese sweet cakes on deck. These street food maestros had a wide variety of the things available, and I figured I not only needed some, but also deserved some. So first up, I got myself a Chinese peanut cake, took myself a bite, and wow. Not only was it tasting swa-dished, but it was also tasting hao-chi as fuck. I also got myself a Chinese red bean cake, and it wasn't tasting half bad either. Compared to Indian sweets, these weren't too sweet, which is something I like. They got a subtly sweet, refined wheat flour flavor that makes me want to just jam about 10 of them down the hatch in one go. And after that Chinese red bean cake, I also got myself a Chinese coconut cake for good measure. And although all these cakes tasted pretty similar, the coconut cake was definitely my fave. Anyway, that about does it for this Indian food tour, but if you want to see more, then feel free to check them out. I've got a Bengali food tour video, and I've got a Mumbai street food tour video, just to name a few. I've got those links in the description box. And as always, thanks for watching this video. Why don't you leave a comment? Let me know what you think.